Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the A&E Truck Series Season 2 playoff race here at Chicagoland Motor Speedway. I am your host, Dylan McDonald. I was supposed to have Nigel, but he had a family emergency, so want to send all my thoughts and prayers to him in his trying time here as he is battling that as well. Not going to go into depth with that, but just know myself up here in the broadcast booth, going to have our thoughts and prayers go out to his family in the time of need. But the man behind the beautiful camera angles here tonight, that's going to be Dean Hopton. And then I also have Wesley Outland in the broadcast booth with me here tonight as he is going to sub in for Nigel here tonight. But it's going to be Chicagoland, a mile and a half racetrack here tonight. The truck series are going to be top lane, middle, and then the bottom. All three lanes going to be used here tonight. And then also across the front stretch, you're going to see a lot of drivers go down below that white line into the tri-oval to start another lap. But Wesley, I want to say good morning, good evening, wherever you may be. And hopefully tonight is going to be a great battle here at Chicagoland.
Well, I'm like you, man. You're in Indiana. I'm in North Carolina. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, so I had to do an update on Discord. But, yeah, man, we're ready to roll and always enjoy being able to cover the truck series for the Australian NASCAR E-Series. And obviously, you got to love Chicagoland. It's a fun, unique racetrack. I think it's going to be a good one here tonight, no doubt.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing that I didn't really like is whenever they took Chicagoland off of the NASCAR Cup Series, as right now, looking at the playoff standings, the round of 8, Brad Newman with the slight little margin lead over Tom Freer in P number 2. Then you got Aaron Borg in 3rd and Ryan Barber rounding out your top 4. Those are the drivers that are above the cut line going into the championship race in 2 weeks' time. And then below, you got Jamie Davis, Angus Lawford, Jason Holdsworth, and Riley Curtis. That red line between, the top 5 or top 4 and top 8 is slim margin, slim pickings for a lot of these drivers. They need to have a really good race here tonight before they get sent off to Talladega next week to close out the round of 8 before we get into the championship race at Homestead or Phoenix International Speedway.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well, man. I do the BMG Xfinity Series, and normally I do promote the trucks. I was under the impression they were going to be at Vegas today. I guess there was a change made at the last minute, and because of that, they run Chicagoland. But here's something you got to remember. Vegas and Chicagoland, very quite similar in comparison, just like maybe Auto Club or Kansas as well. I mean, it's a mile and a half tri-oval speedway. So, it's still going to be a very unique race tonight. I'm excited to see what goes on here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The last time I ran here in the truck series for officials, very aero dependent, very clean air effectiveness. You don't want to be trapped in a lot of traffic as much as you possibly can. Obviously, once everybody gets around and gets their tires under a good green flag condition race and seeing where everything goes, we can see what kind of racing we got. But Bringing up the starting lineup for tonight's race is going to be Jason Holdsworth of Nitro Racing starting on the pole with Jamie Davis in that first Project 36 machine in the number 92. Third is going to be the Southern Starts Esports driver Ryan Barber in third. Aaron Borg in fourth. Rounding out your top five is going to be Tom Freer in the number 41 Synergy Sim Racing. Sixth is going to be Dave Douglas, our second Nitro Racing entry in sixth. Seventh is going to be Brad Wright. Eighth is going to be Angus Lawford. Ninth is going to be Brad Newman. 10th is going to be Brenton Henderson. 11th, Tom Pritchard. And running out your top 12 is going to be Aaron Dorman.
As your first 6 rows, as the field is now towing behind the pace car, let's introduce row number 7 on back. Starting in the 13th position, it will be Trent Lavelle in the number 67. Brandon Chooch Griffiths will be right there for Project 36, starting on the outside as well. Then we got row number 8 going to find David Lawler as well as Phil Otto, row number 8. Row 9, Lee Davis as well as Riley Curtis. Your top row 10, top 20 will find Matt Raymond and Timo Blundell. Then you've got, of course, in row 11, Andy Barber and Katay Dow, I think. Brian Blundell and Noddy Tompkins will start in the number 24 position. And let's go ahead and finish out the lineup, as you've also got starting 25th, Noddy Tompkins and Charles Wembley in the back as well. Marty Mitchell, too. One guy looks like he might be a scratch, Charles Wembley. But with that being said, though, Dylan, we're about ready to turn them loose here, man. This is going to be a fun one here at Chicagoland.
Absolutely. Pace car going to bring it down into pit lane this time by Barney with the green flag in the air. Getting ready to go into the Geico Restart Zone. Green flag is going to be waving. We are green flag racing at Chicagoland Motor Speedway for the first time here in the round of 2 playoffs. Jason Holdsworth going to lead them all in the turn number 1 and 2, and everybody starts to get out possibly can and get up to where they need to be to get that first lap led, but it's going to be Jason Holdsworth corralling everybody towards the back, towards number 3 and 4. 3 wide going through the middle of turns number 3 and 4. Tom Freer getting a little bit loose going through the apex of that corner, but it's going to be Jason Holdsworth leading them off into turn number 1.
Yeah, playoff points on the line. Every position that you can advance to move up is always key. If you're one of those playoff drivers in the round of 8 and you're allowed to win, that's even better to lock yourself in to the finale. Right now, it is Holdsworth. He's up in front. The all-time starter of Australia NASCAR E-Series leads them with the lead in 3 and 4.
You can see there on the left side of your screen, everybody in white is the playoff contenders. Holdsworth, Barber, Davis, Borg, Lawford, Freer, and Newman are all in the top 8. Curtis all the way down in the teens, the last lonely playoff driver. He's got a lot of work to do to get himself back up there towards the front and put himself in a position to go. But it's going to be Ryan Barber hot on the tails of Jason Holdsworth as it sits right now, but the clean air, what I was saying earlier, is going to be the point where you want to be here tonight is the top, West and 12 cars from the single file, everybody else still trying to battle for that little bit of a position that they can get before those tires wear off.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And right now, Holdsworth obviously just still in that top position. There you see Aaron Borg. You're on board with him now. He currently is in that number 4 spot. Look at the scoring ticker, thanks to Bigglestein Hopton, who always does a bang-up job. If you see the big, bold white box with the driver's name, those are your playoff drivers. And right now, as you can see, about, 7 of the round of 8 drivers are currently in the top 10 as they go back into the corner.
Yeah, everybody trying to get as many positions as they can. Riley Curtis, the lone one out. Like I said earlier, he's got to get some momentum getting himself up to the front. But the adversity of this race here, Wes, so far, you got some drivers running the top, like Aaron Borg, and you got some running the middle, like the Project 36 machines. And then you got the race leader, Jason Holdsworth, running that inside lane. That is actually a pretty good way to look at it. Me personally, Wes, I don't know how much of this racing you do. I run the inside lane as best as I possibly can, about 20 to 25 laps. And then once the grip starts going away on that bottom, I start chasing it up the track, trying to get as much grip on those tires as I possibly can as the run goes on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm normally a guy that just commentates the races, right? I never really even jump in the server. I don't have an iRacing or an iRig or anything like that, so driver rig. But I can tell you that obviously I've called many races here in Chicagoland, and obviously perfect start for these guys right now, working their way around the racetrack, looking really, really good. Holdsworth, early leader, looking great. Just now we got Freer. He's in the mix now, trying to get in the top 5. He'll clear by Wright in 19, and we're 3 wide behind him as they work their way out 4.
Working their way off of 4, and Brad Newman sporting the SpongeBob SquarePants paint scheme this week. A little bit of Newman showing here tonight. Newman still running that inside lane. The 19, a little bit of a bobble. They're going to be 3 wide yet again. All 3 Project 36 trucks, all in a tango back there. The 19 is going to drop not 1, but 4 positions in 1 corner.
Yeah, by the way, as we look at now watching Holdsworth continue to stay out in front, he's in that top position. I want to give props where props is due. Actually, Andy Barber is now the new all-time starter of the Australian NASCAR E-Series. And right now, Barber has 170 starts counting tonight here. Right now, working his way into the top 5 as he currently sits on the racetrack watching now, obviously, Ryan Barber in second position. But all this goes on as they work their way back into the turn. And, of course, is Jason Holdsworth still leading the way. By the way, Andy Barber back now in the 20th position.
Yeah, Andy Barber trying to get himself back up there towards the front as we're taking a look on board towards the middle of the pack. Brenton Henderson running the top to middle lane all the way around this racetrack. And something that's really unique about this racetrack, Wes, is the backstretch isn't really straight. It's a little bit of a curvature going all the way down the backstretch, so you're not really letting the wheel go as straight as you possibly can be. But one thing I do know for sure is that wall does sneak up on you if you aren't really trying to pay attention and running that high lane. You can see that right side fender smack that safety barrier going into turns number 3 and 4.
Yeah, definitely got to keep an eye on that. It looks like Angus Lawford up into the outside safer barrier. A lot of people say a lot of times here at Chicagoland, which, by the way, it will be back on the NASCAR schedule next year. I know a lot of people are excited about that as we saw Lawford hit the boards. Then we got now Aaron Borg, got some company by Chooch. He's up on the high side making moves. But, yeah, this track is so unique. Sometimes it looks like you're driving around in a circle here, always on the steering wheel as Davies is way up high now. It's Borg. Davis is right there reeling him in as they work the back straightaway.
Yeah, one driver that has not left that top lane is going to be the number 43 of Aaron Borg. Aaron Borg has used that high lane to his advantage every single lap. Jamie Davis trying to do the exact same thing. You can see Jamie Davis right there. Gets a little bit aero tight, pushes up into the wall. Going to lose a little bit of speed, but not going to lose a lot of time on the back of the number 43 machine. And that's just the way that everything is working. You can see there, going through turns number 1 and 2, Jamie Davis going to enter that corner just a little bit lower to get a little bit of air on that front left quarter panel of that number 92, and going to be right back on that back bumper.
And by the way, don't forget, next week we're at the Talladega Super Speedway in round number 2 of the round of 8 for not only the Xfinity Series, but also the trucks, unless, something changes, because I thought, they were going to be at, obviously, Vegas tonight, but it's Chicagoland. But right now, Tom Freer looking really, really strong. And there you see him right now, currently in the number 6 position, started this race in 5th. He is single file right now. But yeah, Talladega, don't forget, Sunday night for the Australian NASCAR Championship Series. So next Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, talk about Super Speedway racing at its finest. Talladega will be a wild one, obviously. If you can win tonight here, if you're one of the playoff drivers in the round of 8, you punch yourself in, Dylan, to the championship round coming up in Phoenix.
Oh, absolutely, and especially with last week on Thursday night as we have our first yellow flag of the night. Looking like Lee Davis in the 014 sends her on around with a lot of black smoke coming out of the rear end. Can't wait to see what the replay shows, but it's going to be the 014, that Ford F-150 having a lot of rear end damage and front end damage as he comes off turns number 3 and 4 through the front stretch. Is getting ready to go into turns number 1 and 2. Oh, just gets hooked to the outside wall. Oh, comes back down across the track, and everybody able to avoid. And that is just one of the disadvantages, especially here at Chicagoland, with that D-shaped oval. You really got to pay attention to how far much you drift up the racetrack and who's right on that quarter panel. As he goes for a wild ride.
Yeah, I'm trying to look and see what truck was that got a piece of him and sent him up into the fence, obviously. That's Lee Davis again. That's the truck that put out the caution flag. Let's watch again from another angle here. Well, we can't tell from here. There it is, the 19 right there on the outside, and there it is. There's the contact, and oh boy, the 19 does not lift, and that's what caused the accident there. That's Brad Wright getting into the 014, putting us under our caution for the first time here. Got to wonder if anybody's coming down to the pit lane, and I do see some takers outside the top 10 coming out in the pits right now, Dylan.
Yeah, looks like Tom Freer going to be the first driver to bring these drivers into the pit lane. Could we see a 2-tire stop, maybe even a 4, or maybe just gas and go for a lot of these drivers? I know they have a select set of tires here tonight, as I don't see the jack going up on the number 41, so just gas and go for a lot of these drivers. Maybe a little bit of damage for the number 19. Obviously, the 014 is going to be out of commission until he gets that motor repaired, if he can, as everybody going to come right back on out of the pit road. And it's still going to be Jason Holdsworth and Ryan Barber going to lead these drivers to the green flag and then see what kind of jump they can get.
Yep, pit stops obviously going to change things up. There's a look, by the way, at the playoff standings moving into the opening round of the round of 8 here tonight at Chicagoland. And there you see Brad Newman, Tom Freer, Aaron Borg, right now Ryan Barber. Those would be the drivers that could transfer in by virtue of points. But remember, this is only round 1 of 3. If you do win the race and you're one of those drivers with the white box on the scoring ticker, Dylan McDonald, you punch your ticket in to the championship round at Phoenix. And again, you don't have to deal with the crazy wild card that is Chicagoland. Obviously, tonight, if you can win, Talladega, Rockingham, 2 very different, unique racetracks leading up to the finale at Phoenix. And if you can win here tonight, obviously, the biggest thing is to not have to fight your way in at Talladega, the wild card, the craziness that I think we'll see next Thursday.
Yeah, next Thursday is going to be a all-out shootout. You're going to see 3, even possibly 4 wide, going all the way around the Talladega Superspeedway, but can't wait to see what happens at Talladega. As again, start of round 2, last week's winner, Griffin Gardner, got the race win at Charlotte Roval last week, as he's just a part-timer. He is 2 for 2 on the road courses here tonight in this series, so sucks that we don't have to see him out here tonight running with the greatest drivers of all time here in the Australian eNASCAR series, as pace car. I'm going to go down into pit lane one more time. Going to hit the Geico Restart Zone. Start is on the number 8 machine of Jason Holdsworth. We are back to green flag racing. Jason, really good restart on that inside lane. A little bit of a check up on that outside lane towards the back of the pack with that blue machine, but it's going to be close call for Brad Newman and Ryan Barber, as Brad Newman looking down on the inside, SpongeBob SquarePants on the hood, trying to make his way up to that 3rd position.
Yeah, SpongeBob right there in full effect down on the inside. 3 wide as he gets down to the bottom. Look at the 94, 194 stuck in the middle. There is Ryan Barber. And we are going to watch all this going on as they work through the tri-oval here in Chicagoland. Chooch Griffiths down on the inside. Correction, that's Jamie Davis with Griffiths behind him. All this going on in the top 5 as it is still Holdsworth leading off too.
Yeah, that is another thing that a lot of these drivers have to pay attention to, is who goes down and uses that apron to their advantage. Granted, it is their responsibility to make sure that the track is clear enough for them to come up back to the racing surface. We also have to have faith in the guy down below or up above you to make sure that he's going to allow you to come back up. If he doesn't let you back up, you got to wait, let off the throttle a little bit. You're going to lose a little bit of time, but I'd rather see a lot of these drivers lose a little bit of time rather than wrecking their chances at advancing on deeper into the playoffs, as Jason Holdsworth has built up a little bit of a lead over Aaron Borg, who is continuing to run that outside lane.
128 laps, by the way, is 192 miles here at the virtual Chicagoland Speedway, as we see these guys, Willem and Dylan, working their way back around the racetrack. If you're doing the math, halfway in this race will be obviously something to watch, because once you get to that first 100 miles, I think it's going to be interesting to see what goes on. The rest of the way is currently, right now, it is Holdsworth in the lead, but look at this now going on. Back in third, fourth, and fifth, that's Newman, that's Barber, that's Davis. All these drivers right there with one another, as here comes Barber pulling up in front of Chooch and Moore to close the block on them all four.
Yeah, beautifully executed maneuver there by the number 194 to kind of block that run. 92 is going to have coming up off of the corner, and you can see just how adversified the field is, Wesley, running the top, the middle, the bottom, just trying to find any and every single which way they can go to get that clean air on the nose of that truck, trying to put themselves in a position to make a pass, as Kute Dallin, the number 55 machine, makes a pass. He's going to make his way up there towards the front, as well as Kute Dal having a strong run here in this series, as he is battling now with another driver in that number Project 36 machine, trying to make his way back up there towards the front, as we take a look on the onboard, looking off the rear deck of the number 8 of Jason Holdsworth.
Yeah, look at Holdsworth right now, still in that top spot. He leads the way. As you see now, everybody behind him, second, third on back, Borg and Newman. They now continue to have it, going at it for that top spot. It's Aaron Borg way up on the high side. He'll open the door now to Brad Newman. Newman reeling him in now as they work the back stretch, heading to turn number 3. Holdsworth still in the lead.
Holdsworth still in the lead, but that gap has really closed between Borg and Holdsworth. Just before the quarter was getting, or just before they were getting ready to enter that corner west, Aaron Borg was right up on that back bumper of Jason Holdsworth. The top 3 have kind of checked out just a little bit over the rest of the field, and now Jason Holdsworth sees the opportunity. He's going to take that number 8 machine up to the outside, but it's going to be a battle for P number 2 as Brad Newman trying to find a way around that number 43.
Yeah, ready to go for that spot is Holdsworth down, way down to the bottom of the racetrack. He's got now Borg and Newman right there in tow. Side by side, one almost bouncing off the wall. That's going to be Barber and Davis battling for 4th and 5th. This goes on now as they climb up the bank and head back into turn 1.
Back down into turns number 1 and 2 is Brad Newman ripping that inside lane, trying to find in any type of way he can get alongside of Aaron Borg. Kind of throw the little bit of a slider move on the number 43 machine, but it's not going to be able to happen this time by Kute Dal riding on board with him. He's going to rip the fence off of turns number 3 and 4. He's going to tag the wall just a little bit, but not going to lose a lot of time on that number 92 of Jamie Davis.
Yeah, keep an eye now on that Davis machine, who right down that Project 36 entry way up on the high side. And don't count out Project 36, because there are about 3 other drivers inside Project 36 in the top 10. JB Davis 5th, Brandon Chooch is 7th, and 10th is Angus Lawford, as we got trucks getting sideways there, banging for position coming off of turn 4.
Yeah, I got super tight between the number 92 and the 194 going through turns number 3 and 4. And all Kute Dal can do is just sit and hope that everybody keeps it fairly straight, as Jamie Davis, a little bit of looseness down on that inside. He's going to lose not 1 but 2 spots going down the backstretch. Kute Dal looking down to the inside of the number 194. Can he make the pass on Ryan Barber, as he's got the advantage coming off turns number 4, but the outside run could pay dividends to Ryan Barber. Is going to be Kute Dal at the line.
And this battle continuing now between the 194 and the 55. By the way, Kute Dial up 17 spots to the number 5 position. It was double file for a minute. Now we're back single file. Nose to tail, not for long. They're jumping out of position, working 3.
Yeah, you see there 2 by 2 right behind Kute Dial, as it looked like the number 36 machine smacked the outside safety barrier going into turn number 3 and 4. As he's going to be able to keep that truck on a mission, trying to get up towards the front, trying to use those tires to his advantage. Doesn't want to push too early, as Kute Dial has to lift just a little bit, and here he goes. Chooch down to the inside with a 3 wide. Double D, David Douglas, down to the inside, going to try to make it 3 wide once again and pick off 2 more positions.
And way up high goes now Williams. Griffith sees the meat and the sandwich there for a second. As again, there goes late Dave Douglas. Moved him up now to the number 4 position. This guy's been really good on the Tuesday BMG X Series. Couple of podium finishes, and he's looking good in the trucks now. But in the 4th now, behind the top 3 on the back straightaway.
Looking to get clear of the number 194 of Ryan Barber, just not able to do it there going down the backstretch. Maybe get clear coming off towards number 3 and 4. He does. In Dave Douglas doing what Dave Douglas does, gets himself clear and is starting to pull away from Ryan Barber. So maybe a little bit of tire conservation from the number 10 machine earlier in this run. He's going to be able to get clear, as the top 3 have kind of checked out to their own zip code and running a single file, still running that outside lane, is back down to the inside. I can just say that Jason Holdsworth and Brad Newman down to the inside, and Aaron Borg still running that outside lane.
Working through 3 and 4, they cross the line back through the tri-oval. Holdsworth holding on to the lead, but for how long? Because here comes the Hungry Wolves. It is Borg within 2/10 of a second. 3/10 back is Brad Newman. Then about a second back is, of course, the man of Dave Douglas, Ryan Barber, right there as they work 3 wide in the middle of the 52 as they work 3.
2 playoff contenders side by side. All 3 of them playoff contenders were 3 wide there going into turn number 3 and 4. Riley Curtis making his way up towards the front. He is now currently sitting at 13th on the field, waiting to get in that top 10. Currently working his way around to Tom Freer if he can. He's got a slower truck in front of him. This could pay off for Riley Curtis running that inside lane as they work on lap number 35 down to turn number 3 and 4. Riley Curtis not done where he is. He wants to get up there towards the front.
And looking now on the inside, we're looking at Brad Newman. Here comes the number 1, Brad Newman on the bottom of the racetrack. He's got Aaron Borg up high. Aaron Borg, by the way, in different colors. Normally I see him in the bright blue or the dark blue AC Delco colors, but tonight he is donning the red entry, number 43. And right now he is setting his sights on both Newman and Holdsworth for the lead as they work through 3 and 4.
Yeah, Holdsworth still holding on to that race lead. Brad Newman able to use that inside lane and get around the number 43. Holdsworth running that outside lane in 1 and 2. Going to run the inside lane in 3 and 4. And that is paying off massively for Jason Holdsworth, as we have yet another yellow here tonight. The 36, Brandon Griffiths, going to send her around the backstretch to bring out caution number 2 on lap number 37 of 128.
Yeah, if you're doing the math, we're just about 50 miles or over 50 miles into this thing, as lap 64 will be 100 miles into the race. And there you see the caution as Chooch getting a little shot there from the 41 of Tom Freer. Keeps on going, Freer does, and after doing a little recreational driving in the grass, Brandon Griffiths also stays on the loud pedal, the Project 36 entry. Here's another look at it again.
Yeah, and it's so hard. You can see it there. Chooch was committed to that outside lane, and then obviously Tom Freer committed to where he was. There's not much more that Tom Freer could have done. I know he checked up just a little bit for the number 36 machine, but just not enough. And luckily, no further damage for the Chooch, as pit road is going to be a very busy place here tonight, as I believe everybody's going to come in and get those fresh stickers all the way around this racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. This is the first time a lot of drivers are heading to the pit lane. Maybe some takers in the back behind the top 10, top 15. But for the most part, the front runners, especially Holdsworth, Newman, Borg, they're all coming down pit lane. 4 freshies, as my friend Jacob Reeves always says. 4 tires, fuel, maybe some adjustments that need to be made. And we got them wrecking entering pit road. Oh, my goodness, the 7-Eleven got into Douglas. Wow.
Oh, man. Not what Dave Douglas wanted to see. He's going to have a little bit of damage on the front nose of that number 10 machine. If he hit it a ton, I'm not exactly sure. Just caught the end of it there as Holdsworth still going to hold on to the race lead coming out of pit road.
See if we can maybe, I'll try to see this again on a replay maybe. Wondering if David Lawler might have been the truck that, wow. Okay.
I can honestly say I've never seen that before.
Well, that's interesting.
It was Dave Douglas in the 7-Eleven going into pit lane. Not sure if there was a miscommunication on pit road between those 2 drivers or not, but
I mean, it does look like, Dylan, that they're very close to their parking spots, to their parking stalls. Let's see here. He just lost it. Yeah, he lost it. Dave Douglas lost it on his own. Wow.
I think Dave Douglas forgot where his pit box was, and yeah, I mean, the way that looks there, Wes, is he forgot where his box was. He had a bunch of people in front of him, and the way that the 43 was, he was kind of catty corner. So you couldn't really see his sign.
Yeah.
And then obviously Ryan Barber got in the back of him. Everybody's so close together, especially on our pace laps. And just ended up catching each other.
Yeah. Well, little craziness on pit road. Everybody's able to get back out on the racetrack, though. And we'll get ready to re-rack them, restack them, and go again here as we head towards lap number 40 and the green flag this time by.
Looks like Jason Holdsworth going to elect to take the inside lane here. So it's going to be Jason Holdsworth and Brad Newman to bring us back to the green flag. Jason Holdsworth has had a really good restart so far. It's all about timing for the number 8 machine, as we're going to go this time by through the Geico restart zone. On the loud pedal is going to be the number 8 machine. The 43 got a really good jump. He's going to be all over the back bumper of the number 8, and already top 4. Single file, then it's double file all the way back, as everybody going to run that inside lane, try to get those tires back up to heat, and then start running that outside lane. You're going to see the number 43 going to try to do his best impression of the high side hustle, as we're already 3 wide. Tom Freer is the top dog on the outside, and we got Riley Curtis in the middle. He backed out, but now Tom Freer back in the middle, 3 wide again.
Look at this awesome racing now as they work their way through the tri-oval, heading back into the corner. You're on board now with the 93, Riley Curtis. He's on the inside. He's making a run on now the drivers of Barber, Tompkins, Lawford. Here comes the 5 on the top side. Barber gets around him as they work their way into turn 3.
Very smart move by Riley Curtis to back out of that 3-wide situation with Tom Freer, especially on colder tires off of a restart. He didn't want to put himself in a predicament where he could potentially get his race ruined here early in the early goings of the Chicagoland race. He's going to try to battle back and get himself up there. Jamie Davis running that outside lane. Started second, currently 4th. Getting around the number 91 machine nice and easily. He's going to get back down to the middle to low side. Going to get underneath that seam. Doesn't want to be too much on that seam, as that can pay off big for a lot of drivers if they have a looser setup in the truck. It could be really loose along those seams, as Jamie Davis not done in 4th position, wants to look for more. He's going to have a really good run coming off turns number 1 and 2. He's going to sit behind Brad Newman for the time being, but look for that number 93 or 92 machine to get up into that top 3 once again.
Yeah, look at that Lowe's number 1 down on the bottom. That's Brad Newman. Newman, we normally see in the number 40 car in the BMG X Series. And right now, the Uno entry, Lowe's Home Improvement. Toyota now pulling up in front of Jamie Davis for Project 36. Here comes up on the top side, Tom Pritchard. He's trying to get a run on these guys as they thunder down the back straightaway.
Yeah, the more these two battle, that's going to allow Tom Pritchard to catch up and use them as a drafting bug and slingshot down to the inside. Brad Newman still committed to that inside lane. Like I was saying, 20 to 30 laps into a run, that's when you're going to start seeing the drivers migrate towards the top, trying to chase the grip all the way around as Pritchard starting to apply the pressure to that back bumper of the number 92, but the 92 needs to find a way around that number 1 machine, or he needs to be a little bit cautious. Brad Newman, one of those drivers that kind of gets in your head a little bit like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm going to run a little bit harder, so I'm going to make you run 10 times harder, use up those tires earlier in the run, and then say goodbye, see you later, as he's going to drive away as Aaron Borg is still running that outside lane.
Yeah, we're still seeing, of course, Jason Holdsworth. How about the dominance for this guy? Holdsworth in the lead, started this race on the pole, led around lap number 40 when he came down to the pit lane, entered on pit road, exited off pit road, and he is still up in front of that number 8 Toyota right now, leading the charge. But Aaron Borg is reeling him in now as they go back into turn 1.
Yeah, that is something different that we see from the number 8 machine of Jason Holdsworth. Jason's normally the type of person that kind of sits around in traffic, waits, lets everybody else use up their equipment, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the number 8 machine shoots out like a rocket. But it's been all gas, no brakes from this number 8 machine. He wants to show that he is meant to be in the championship 4, and he wants to prove that he still has it in his tank.
Oh, we're in old sweet home Chicago, and right now it is Jason Holdsworth. Again, as we mentioned, what a great job for this man, holding on to the top spot, Borg right behind him. And look at the rest of the virtual Thundering Herd working their way around the Speedway. Everybody holding their line comfortably, only 2 cautions stopping the first 50 laps of this race. And we still got a great amount of racing left to go when they come to the line. 80 laps, under 80 to go as Holdsworth leads them back into the corner. This is Ryan Barber now, by the way, working into the top 15, heading to 1.
Trying to work his way around back into the top 10 as he is now dealt with 2 cars side by side. Nowhere for him to go. Aaron Dorman having a strong run here tonight in the number 105 machine, trying to do what he needs to do to get himself a good finish here tonight. Trent Lavelle doing the same exact thing. He's holding on, hasn't been involved in anything here tonight. So good, strong runs from a lot of the drivers that we don't really get to see run up towards the front or even have really good runs throughout this entirety of the race.
And there's the 5. Andy Barber, by the way, up 13 positions now, making a run on Tom Freer with that Synergy entry. All this going on, the Synergy sim racing machine. Single file back to 1 there.
Single file into turns number 1 and 2. Tom going to run that outside lane. Andy Barber, going to run the middle lane. Through that entire corner there is a lot of diversity, like I said, throughout this entire race so far. Everybody's going to play the aero game. Everybody's going to try to get to that line that they really like to run. If I had to pick a lane, it would be the Larson lane. I'd be Aaron Borg. I'm putting it against the fence, and I'm letting her eat. As it pays off to be that high up, as you can see there. The runs that you get off the corner are absolutely impeccable. The runs that you get running that outside lane, the inside lane, just using a little bit of the tire conservation, everything else, throwing it out the window, trying to get yourself those positions.
Here's a look at the weather conditions as you're looking at it right now. Track temp around 88 degrees. The sim temp is around 70 degrees. Clear conditions. Northeast wind at 2 miles an hour. 4 kilometers. It is clear. Humidity down to under 25%. What an absolute pristine, perfect day in the sim world for racing here at Chicagoland. And remember, this place does have lights. You can race at night, but right now they're running in the daytime, and it is the right time. I'm very surprised track temp is not in the triple digits right now, but obviously still a very unique race. We're seeing a good show so far here.
Yeah, a lot of grip with the lower track temps here on the track. A lot of great racing. You see it there. 2-pack racing at its finest. You're not seeing everybody all jumbled up, making the daring moves and putting everybody else in danger of potentially ruining their race and your race. You can see it there. Kute Dow trying to make his way back up to where he was before that caution came out as he's battling the number 136 of Angus Lawford, as Lawford going to get into the wall off of turns number 1 and 2. Kute Dow making his way up to P number 9.
Give your top 10 right now. As we mentioned, it's Jason Holdsworth from the drop of the green. This man has had a phenomenal race to the number 8 machine for Nitro. He leads. Brad Newman second, Aaron Borg third, Jamie Davis, Tom Pritchard right now, a solid top 5. Britton Henderson, Tom Freer, Andy Barber, Kutai Dow, and right now David Lawler. That's the way they stand as we are approaching, believe it or not, 100 miles into this race as they work back into turn 3.
We're getting back into turn number 3 and 4 as we're taking another look at Andy Barber and Tom Freer still going at it. But it's still going to be Tom Freer over Andy Barber for the time being. And Andy Barber following right in the tire tracks of the number 41 machine as Kute Dow has caught these two drivers. He's using that inside lane. He's got the clean air. He's going to look for a pass on that number 5 machine.
Kute Dow right now started this race in 22nd. One of the high climbers along with Andy Barber and Noddy Tompkins, by the way, all with 13 positions climbed. By the way, I don't know if you've seen it, but I'm loving the new scoring ticker, Dylan. If you look at the scoring ticker, if a driver advances their position, their name lights up in green. If they lose a position, it lights up in red. Something kind of like you see on the real NASCAR scoring, and it's one of the great things that Bigglesteen Hopkins done behind the scenes on production.
Yeah, it's actually very cool to look at. I actually noticed it earlier. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat how he incorporated that as battle for P number 4 here, as Davis getting ahead of Borg for the time being, just can't get the pass clear as Borg still running that outside lane, but he is falling off just a little bit from the top 1 and 2.
Boy, keep an eye on the 92. A little sideways for Davis for a minute as he was dirt tracking it behind the Borg machine in the top 5. Project 36 Toyota, a little jiggle, a wiggle, a giggle, and a bobble. And somehow he holds on to that spot right now as they work their way on the high side into the turn 2.
Yeah, both using the outside lane professionally all the way on the outside lane. Jamie Davis getting a little bit more clean air on that number 92 machine. A little bit of looseness, but got it figured out really relatively quickly. Didn't lose a lot of time on that number 43 machine. Still going to be looking to make his way back up there to P number 3 and take over that final podium position.
Holdsworth. Couple of Toyotas right now with Holdsworth and Newman, 1 and 2. Look at this battle now heating up in the top 10. Kutai Dow, Tom Freer going at it, along with the 41 up on the high side. That's Tom Freer, Andy Barber, battling door to door. All this going on now as they work their way up the corner. By the way, highest climber, 15 spots in 7th in front of these guys as they battle again to the top 10, going back to 1.
Yeah, Kute Dow able to get around Tom Freer and Andy Barber as They're going to go side by side. Riley Curtis down on the inside of that number 36 machine, Brandon Chooch Griffiths. As Griffiths going to be, or the 136, excuse me, as he's going to try to keep that number 93 machine behind him, but not going to be able to do it. He's going to pinch him down to that inside. Doesn't let him come back up the racetrack that he needs to, but it's going to be Riley Curtis getting that position away from the number 136, David Lawler, as a little bit of contact between the 41 and the number 5.
Yeah, we sure did, man. It looked like a lot of contact. Somehow fighting for those spots as they do work their way back around out of back straightaway. Great racing going on here is closing in. Halfway, by the way. This time by, when Holdsworth comes to the line and the rest of the leaders, they're there. 64 in, 64 to go. We're halfway here at Chicagoland.
Halfway home out of this beautiful race here tonight. 2 cautions. Oh, a little bit of a contact between the 5 and 41. 41's going to be able to make the move and get on around. Luckily for the number 5 machine, he's able to save it. Not sure if he got up into the outside wall while saving it, but not going to be a happy camp from the number 5 machine as Kute Dow making another move. Going to move up 2 more positions into the 5th position over Pritchard and Henderson.
Got our producer, Beaglestein Hopton, doing a little Blues Brothers in the background. Hotty hey, hotty ho. Sweet home Chicago as we got one sideways. Hold on to it down the back straightaway.
Yeah,
Brenton Henderson. Wow.
Beautiful save by that number 13 of Brenton Henderson as Riley Curtis now down to the inside of Tom Freer, looking to make himself up there into the top 8 here tonight as he's not able to get clear of the number 41 machine. 41 is going to battle back hard on that outside lane, and Riley Curtis not able to get clear off 2.
It's kind of funny. I actually do social media to promote the Australian NASCAR broadcasts, and I actually, on my social media, use the Blues Brothers theme that Mr. Dean's humming our background. So I find that kind of funny. Get out of my head, Dean. It's right now. Jason Holdsworth is still leading the way. We're in the second half of this race. And look at now, Henderson. Henderson was about to spin a moment ago. He's battling now with Tom Pritchard on the high side. And well, that goes on up ahead. Here comes Dow. Kute Dow making a move on Borg. This is for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, Kute Dow's got that truck winded up on that inside. He's going to make the easy pass on Aaron Borg. And I think if this race goes green, that number 92 of Jamie Davis might have a tough competition with that number 55 machine coming on around. And then obviously, if he can make up the time on the top 2, look out, there could be a new leader with a little bit of help with that number 55 machine. Is taking a look at Andy Barber, a little bit of loose coming out of turns number 1 and 2, so maybe a little bit more damage than what we think here on the back bumper of that number 5.
There's Ryan Barber, by the way, the 194. Good strong run for him right now. Boy, these trucks look a lot alike with the colors on these machines, the 194 and the 5. That, of course, is Ryan Barber, Andy Barber, the Southern Starts Esports entry. And by the way, we mentioned Jason Holdsworth dominating this race so far. Andy Barber, by the way, has the most start of Australian NASCAR E-Series now. Andy Barber, career start number 170 tonight. He's got 2 career wins, 40 top 5s and 91 top 10s at the moment. But Andy Barber right now, again, making start 170 to Jason Holdsworth, 168. Brian Blundell also with career start 168 as well. They're right in striking distance.
Yeah, as that took place there, Riley Curtis just threaded the needle right in front of Brenton Henderson. Almost kind of took himself out of contention of this race, threading the needle that close. Got a little bit of a bump draft going down the backstretch. And now Riley Curtis looking down to the inside of the number 91 of Tom Pritchard. Down to the inside goes to the number 93. To the outside goes to the number 91. But the 91 going to have the advantage coming off of the corner. No, he lifted for the number 93. move Riley Curtis up one more position. Down in turns number 3 and 4, he's going to run the middle to low lane and get a little bit of time gained on the number 91.
Holdsworth, Newman, Davis, one of the non-playoff contenders. Kute Dow right now in 4th and 5th with Borg. By the way, if you're doing the math, what is it now? 6 drivers in the top 10 are points drivers for the round of 8.
Yeah, you can see it there. Jason Holdsworth now has to mitigate a little bit of lap traffic there as he gets around nice and easily around that lap traffic of that project number 36 machine, but he's getting a little bit of distance between Brad Newman as another good battle out there on the racetrack. Riley Curtis down on that inside. He's going to get around Aaron Borg, who I think has burnt up his tires early in the going, trying to keep up. And now you see the deficit there of the tires for Aaron Borg, and then Riley Curtis using that inside lane still. And we are now 75 laps into this race, Wes, and you know the last caution came on lap number 37 of this race. So they're good, almost 40 laps into this, or 30 laps into this run. A lot of the drivers going to start moving up there towards the top as Double D getting ready to go 3 wide.
That's Dave Douglas, man, and what a great job he's done on the BMGX series. And down on the inside, Double D down to the bottom. Dave Douglas moved him up now into the top 5, trying to go after Curtis and Borg. All this goes on as he pulls up in front of Tom Freer, and all this happens as the 13. Remember, that's Brenton Henderson got really loose earlier a moment ago on the back straightaway. They're now easily getting passed by the number 10 of Douglas, put him into the 7th position. He's climbing in to the front runners. And how about this? He's not a playoff contender, but you know what? This is exactly what he told me on Tuesday night. I am just making a little noise. I am a non-championship driver, but I'm showing my strengths, preparing for next year. That's exactly what Dave Douglas is doing. I see now in the truck program as well. He's up down to the number 7 spot. One of the non-playoff drivers right there, getting ready to climb into the top 5.
Yeah, you see it there, a little bit of a congestion towards the back. All over the track, really. You can see a lot of 2-wide battling going on. A little bit of 3-wide battles going on as well once the trucks get caught back up to each other. But Dave Douglas putting on a gap for the number 41 as Brad Newman has slowly starting to close that gap on Jason Holdsworth now. Going down the backstretch on lap number 78 as we get those big blue eyes of SpongeBob. Brad Newman down to the inside. He's going to close the gap just a little bit more onto the number 8 of Jason Holdsworth.
Brad Newman, there you see him. He's got all this going on. This, by the way, Douglas is on pit road. Jamie Davis is in. He wrecks entering pit road. Green flag pit stops, and Jamie Davis is going for the undercut as we head towards lap number 80 of this race.
Yeah, not what Jamie Davis wanted to have happen, and with him getting a little bit sideways going into pit lane, that's going to lose a lot of time for the number 92 machine. But the longer these drivers stay out, the more that Jamie Davis can acquire more tenths of speed as SpongeBob looking down the inside once again on the number 8 machine of Jason Holdsworth.
Oh, it's in the pineapple under the sea. SpongeBob right now. Brad Newman in that number 2 position, setting his sights on Holdsworth. And he is in stealth mode. And by the way, lap traffic up ahead for the leaders as well as Newman dives to the bottom of the apron. You can do that here. It's allowed. Next week at Talladega, it's a big no-no. But SpongeBob using every advantage of the virtual Windy City track Chicagoland to go to the lead on Holdsworth off 2.
You can see just a little bit of tail wag out of that number 8, or out of the number 1 machine. Using that 8-wheel slide to be a little bit fast here is Holdsworth going to go back onto the outside of this time by in turns number 3 and 4. Last lap, he ran that inside lane all the way around and he's still just trying to figure out a little bit of ways to keep that number 1 machine in behind the number 8. As 1 and 2, it really works on that outside lane, but 3 and 4, I think it's still the bottom feeder type of track in turns number 3 and 4. And Jason Holdsworth kind of just proved that just a little bit 1 lap ago, where he ran the ran the top. Brad Newman was able to close the gap just a little bit. Now Brad Newman goes to the top and Holdsworth down on the inside.
By the way, we're heading to Talladega next week. It starts next Sunday night, the Australian NASCAR Championship E-Series. Back in action this Sunday. Then we're going to be running on the BMG X Series and the Australian trucks as well. Next Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. Australian Standard Time. And, of course, if you're in America like me and Dylan are, it is 5 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm ready for Daylight Savings Time to at least give us another hour, Dylan.
Absolutely.
No, it used to be 6. It used to be 6 a.m. Now it's 5 a.m. for us because of Australian Eastern Standard Time. Yeah.
Oh, a little bit of looseness from the number 105 of Aaron Dorman, as he's going to tuck in line with the number 1 and 8, but Riley Curtis all over the back bumper of the number 55 machine. He's trying to make his way up there towards the front, as he is now currently sitting P number 4 on the board, looking to take over that 3rd position.
Yeah, I had to find that out the hard way, Dylan, last Tuesday morning whenever I got here, and it was 6 a.m. my time, but it was actually 5 a.m. whenever actually the race started. We got drivers on pit road. Here we go. This could be the money stop, too.
Yeah, absolutely. This could be the money stop. And Wes, I feel your pain. Last Thursday, I did the exact same thing.
You did the same thing?
Showed up at 6 o'clock at the Charlotte Roval. They're already racing.
Exactly. I showed up with like 30 laps to go. Holdsworth, by the way, the dominator of the night for Nitro on pit road. Riley Curtis right behind him. And we have the money stop going on. These drivers, I think, will go to the finish here after they make these pit stops. By the way, now Brad Newman, the leader, in 1. Oh, and by the way, you want to have a flawless pit stop, right, Dylan? Look at this, man. Talk about pitting on entry under caution here is tough in Chicagoland. Look at when you're doing it at full song. Newman, Kutai Dow, Andy Barber, Tom Freer, all on pit road as pit stops continue. Dave Douglas now the new leader. Did we lose Dylan? Dylan, do you copy? I think we lost Dylan, guys. Oh, boy. Green flag. Yeah, there you go. Okay, yeah, you were muted or something, brother. We were talking about green flag pit stops. I was talking about entry onto the pit lane. It's got to be more difficult whenever you're in a green flag run than under caution.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see there, everybody just trying to make just one more extra lap than everybody else can make it, as David Douglas finally goes there, going to be 3 wide, making it 2 wide now, as Naughty Tompkins looking down the inside. He's got the body language, Wes, like he's going to pit this time. Lets a lot of drivers go as Naughty Tompkins, like I said, going to get into pit lane this time by a flawless pit stop for the number 91.
Jamie Davis, remember, Jamie Davis was the one that came down to the pit lane first, licking his chops. He pitted, and right now at lap 78, right now at lap 87, 88 on the board, he is the new leader. Naughty Tompkins on the pit lane. Here comes Jamie Davis. Project 36 Toyota now the leading here at Chicagoland as we close in on 40 to go. Talk about going for the undercut. That's exactly why I think he did what he did there, Dylan.
Oh, absolutely. And even though he had that little bit of mistake going into pit lane, he was able to make it back on up and get the race lead. But he's got Brad and Newman hot on his tails, and then Jason Holdsworth as well.
New top 10, Jamie Davis, Brad Newman, Jason Holdsworth, David Lawler, Riley Curtis as Brad Newman flies by Jamie Davis. That shows what a new set of freshies, even 10 laps more, can do. And Brad Newman now right back to the lead here. Wow.
Yeah, Brad Newman shot out like a cannon, and there we go.
Holdsworth.
Jason Holdsworth. Going to try to do the exact same thing, looking down the inside. He's going to get around Jamie Davis for the P2 position.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's give you your new top 10 as the pit stops have concluded here at lap number 90. Under 40 to go. Brad Newman, the new leader. Jason Holdsworth, second. Jamie Davis, David Lawler, both for Project 36, now third and fourth. By the way, a Chevrolet Aaron Borg in the top 5. The rest in the top 4 are all Toyotas. Then in 6th and a Ford, it is Riley Curtis. Toyota by Kute Dow is in 7th. Brenton Henderson, Ryan Barber, Dave Douglas, your top 10. That's the way it stands as they work their way again down the back straightaway at Chicagoland.
Yeah, you can see it there riding on board with Kute Dow. He's kind of following the train all the way around this racetrack. He's going to look down to the inside of Riley Curtis. Riley Curtis going to open up the door for Kute Dow. Possibly going to be 3 wide coming off turns number 3 and 4. Yes, they are. A little bit of wall contact for the number 681, I do believe, or 651 of Mitchell on the outside. Kute Dow running along the wall, this time by in turns number 1 and 2. And then you got Riley Curtis right in front of him. Kute Dow going to do a little bit of a switcheroo going down the back straight.
It is Newman. It is Holdsworth. It is Davis. It is Lawler. It is Borg, and Borg now gets around Lawler to go to the top 5. And look at Kute Dow right there, the meat and the sandwich of that battle, as they were a hot dog flying out of the bun. Borg now 2 for 1, 43 now up to 4th, and Dow powers back on the inside as they work 2.
Big defensive move by the number 43 of Aaron Borg, using that inside lane to block the run from the number 55 of Kute Dow. But Kute is not done there. Look at him power around the outside. He's going to take over the 4th position from Aaron Borg. New top 5 is going to be the 1 of Newman, the 8 of Holdsworth, the 52 of Davis, 55 of Dow, and Aaron Borg running out your top 5.
A round of 8. Semi-final playoff rounds roll on. And right now, it is Newman in the lead. Holdsworth, though, in striking distance. And Davis is, by the way, 5 seconds back. So it could be the battle between, of course, Brad Newman, Jason Holdsworth, as we see this other great battle going on. This is the 194 right there. Barber under attack in the top 10.
Yeah, Barber's getting under attack by Dave Douglas. He's going to move up to the outside. He's going to look down inside. Dave Douglas wants to get himself back into the top 8. He's going to look down to the inside. He's going to make the quick pass on the number 194 of Ryan Barber. Make that number 10 quick and as wide as he possibly can. New 8th place driver is going to be Dave Douglas, number 10.
So Newman in the lead. Up 8 spots to the top position. He's up in front at the end of the green flag pit stops. Look at this battle now. As you see Borg up on the high side, trying to hold off the likes of Nitro's Riley Curtis. Curtis will pull in front of now Borg's machine. Behind Aaron Borg is, of course, I believe that's a lap truck in the purple entry down on the inside. All this going on here as we are closing in on lap 100 in the race. Newman in the lead as they go to 3.
Yeah, you see it there. Aaron Borg is still up on that outside lane. I wonder if maybe Aaron Borg made a bad adjustment on that last pit stop, because he went from the front towards the back there, Wes, as new battle on the racetrack. The 92 and Kute Dow. Kute Dow takes away that 3rd position from Jamie Davis.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, this guy, Kute Dow, up now close to 20 spots, 19 positions, and when it counts the most, he is right there in striking distance now. He's now only 7 seconds behind Newman and Holdsworth. By the way, Brad Newman, let's go back to the front runner. He's opened up a second and a half on the man of Holdsworth in second. There you see the interval.
Yeah, there's some definite speed out of that number 1 machine. You see it there. You haven't gotten to see it all race long. He's been in traffic. He's had trucks in front of him, and now he's leading this race as Jason just trying to do anything he possibly can to get a good possible finish out here at Chicagoland.
A good solid run right now as Newman and Holdsworth. Dean, if you could turn up yourself a little bit in the background, you're very faint. Newt, I got you. Yeah, I'm glad you finally got rid of that echo, though. Newman, Holdsworth, and Dow right now. Curtis and Davis. 4 drivers in the top 5 battling for the round of 8. Remember, Brad Newman, if he wins this race, or even Jason Holdsworth, for that matter, any of those drivers in the white box with under 30 to go, remember, Dylan, they punch their ticket into the championship round. No matter what happens, they're fighting for the title.
And I think that's exactly what these top 2 are trying to do. They're trying to get themselves locked in to that round of 4 going to the championship race. Everybody's got 2 more races. They have Talladega next week, and then they got Rockingham right after. 2 really hard tracks. You got to have all the luck in the world to get a race win at Talladega, and then you got the Rockingham International Speedway, one of the newer tracks here. Very, very bumpy all the way around, and a lot of different variations to get through turns number 1 and 2 at the Rock.
Yeah, for sure. As right now we continue to see Brad Newman leading, but there goes now Aaron Borg. A good solid run for this guy as well. Right now outside the top 10, trying to get back to Barber's back door. That's Ryan Barber, the 194 up in front of him. Single file, under 25 to go as, boy, oh boy, Borg got loose there exiting on the corner.
Yeah, very loose for that number 43 machine, and I'm still sticking with my gut here. Wes, I believe, might have thrown in the wrong adjustment here in that race truck on that last final pit stop. As big wiggle from that green and white machine. I believe it was the 91 of Pritchard, maybe, or was it the 19 that had that big wiggle towards the back, put himself on the outside wall. But we're going to continue with the green flag racing with 23 laps to go here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, they're under 25 to go here with Newman in front. Holdsworth right back there in second. If Holdsworth is holding back, he needs to show his talents now because time is running out. And now you can also see Brad Newman catching up to lap traffic. Holdsworth back there in that second position. The Riley Curtis design Nitro Racing number 8 Toyota. He needs to go. He needs to go now. 20 laps to go as he is going to start losing ground on Brad Newman. Newman starting to pick off lap traffic up ahead in his in front of his driver mirror.
Looking at now, Jason Holdsworth running faster times than the leader. So Jason Holdsworth running 32.06s. The race leader 32.16. So picked up a few tenths on the race leader, but could it be enough? He's got to pick up a little bit more with 21 laps to go.
Yeah, time is running out here as you do see Holdsworth It is showing him be the faster man. Now he lost time, 32.120. The best lap was a 32.099 last lap for Newman. By the way, best lap on the racetrack, if you really want to be honest. Let's go all the way back down to 24th. Brad Wright, 32.48 was the fastest lap right now, and he's way in the back of the top 25. Brad Newman continuing to hit his marks and leads the way as we continue to see these battles happening here. Newman, Holdsworth, Dow, Douglas, Curtis now into the top 5. Raymond, Davis, Barber, Henderson, Barber. That's Andy in 8th, Ryan in 10th for the Barber names. All these going on now as they are starting to also get caught up in lap traffic and lead lap trucks battling here with under 20 to go at Chicagoland here, Dylan.
Yeah, one thing that could really change the outcome of this race and see some good, hard, tight battling is going to be that dreaded caution. If it does decide to come out, we've only seen 2 so far this entire race here tonight at Chicagoland, but as it looks right now, Brad Newman with a 1.5 second lead over Jason Holdsworth for the time being as we're riding on board with the number 194. Now going to switch up to the race leader as he's working on another lapped car as he's coming around to take 17 laps to go.
Yeah, what mad props to him right now. There's a look at the standings. And remember, if you're one of those drivers that are in white, you're going to make it in by virtue of points. But that's why we go through 3 rounds in this round of 8. 3 races tonight here at Chicagoland. But Brad Newman, number 1 on the board, number 1 on the track, trying to go to the finals.
Yeah, trying to set a statement here tonight. Doesn't have to worry about it if he gets the race win here tonight. And obviously you see there, Jason Holdsworth and Riley Curtis 7th and 8th in points. But a good run by both of these drivers here tonight. Obviously some bonus points being awarded for the qualifying lap and laps led here tonight. So this is going to boost them to up possibly above the cut line as Tom Freer, Aaron Borg, and Ryan Barber all behind Curtis and Holdsworth. So a big list shakeup for the top 8.
There it is. Brad Newman trying to punch his ticket in. Can he make it happen? Or can Holdsworth put up a fight? He's in that number 2 spot. He hasn't lost any ground, if you will. How important, though, is Holdsworth? He's in 2nd. If he could run down Newman and get the win, here comes a man that's in the number 7 seed going into the championship round. Oh, and by the way, if you're 5th on to 8th in the bracket, you're not eliminated by any stretch of the imagination, Dylan. You're just right now on the bubble by virtue of the points. Holdsworth, he's number 7 coming into this race, but he's 2nd on the racetrack. He's either going to have a really good points gain, or if he wins and can catch Newman, he will go to Phoenix for the championship round. Under 15 to go, 13 at the line.
And now he's losing the time with Brad and Newman, which each and every single lap that goes on by, he's still running that outside lane, trying to make anything happen. Obviously, the lap traffic not going in favor of Jason Holdsworth for the time being, but Brad Newman has clearly led at 27, coming around to take 28 laps led here tonight, and then going to try to staple his name to that Championship 4 trophy.
Down on the bottom, that is Newman in the lead, but look at this great racing happening as well. Freer sideways, he must spot the wall. Freer, what a save. Drops to the bottom of the apron, loses a ton of momentum, but he holds on to the top 10 as they work in 1.
That could have been a big break for the machine of Jason Holdsworth is now down. Pressure from Dave Douglas. Dave Douglas down on the inside. Kute Dowell on that outside. Kute Dowell having one heck of a run here tonight. currently sitting in that final position of third on the podium. But Dave Douglas has something else to say about it. He wants that third position.
And look at this now battle going on. Dave Douglas, man, I'm so happy to see Dave doing really well here, not only in the Xfinity Series, but also the trucks. A driver that's not a playoff contender for the championship, but he is still showing his strengths. And I've talked to him the last couple of weeks, like the Roval last week in Charlotte for the BMG X Series, the Burley Murder Group X Series on Xfinity cars on Tuesday. It's now the 55, almost hits the wall. Kute now did hit the wall, but he hasn't lifted at all. He's right there going after Douglas. But, man, I'm telling you, though, Dylan, as we close in on 10 to go, there's a caution! Oh, no! Yellow is out, Dylan! This changes everything!
Oh, it's Aaron Dorman down to the inside, and you want to talk about calamity about to happen, Wes? We're about to see some of the hardest racing we'll ever see at this race as we get a nice little replay courtesy of Dean Wiggle. Bit of a wiggle. Oh, Jamie Davis chases him down the racetrack, the 253 to the outside lane, going to get spun on around. Hopefully nobody hits him. He's going to backtrack it down into the grass. And oh man, what do you do if you're the leader? Yeah, he's already loose. He's chasing it down the racetrack.
Unbelievable. Wow.
And then Jamie Davis was getting loose. Oh, look at the air pick that truck up off the ground, Wes. Oh, luckily able to land it on all four wheels.
Look at this, another look at it again. It's Jamie Davis. Wow, we got another incident on the back straightaway after we saw what happened in the grass on the front stretch. And here we come, everybody, and I mean everybody's coming down pit lane. This is the money stop. That it's ×2 right now, right? I mean, I think everybody was going to go the distance, but now when you got a late race caution, you can come down to the pit lane. You got an extra set of tires. You're using it right now, and that's exactly what they're doing. Newman, Holdsworth, race off.
Oh, yeah. Holdsworth out.
He did. He beat him off pit road there, Dylan.
How hard are you going to race this last 8 laps when we go green west? This can define your season. How desperate are you willing to go to get a race win? Or are you going to capitalize and be like, hey, you know what? I can get that P2. Let me walk away with a top 2 finish. Or are you going to get really desperate, put balls to the wall, put them up on the dash, and show them who's boss and see if you can't get that race win?
And what's that song by the Scorpions? You got your balls to the wall right now. We'll see what happens as there's a lot of great talented drivers that are about to battle it out here in just a moment between Brad Newman and Jason Holdsworth. It is not over yet. And I'm telling you, obviously, what a fun race I think we're about to see here, man. It's about to get good in the neighborhood.
Oh, absolutely. Jason Holdsworth really has to get it set up. But while we have it up on the screen, Nitro Racing coming on board this season. If you want to get involved with the setups, go to Discord /Nitro Racing, the Cup, Xfinity, and truck side of things. See yourself in victory lane as week in and week out, new setups get posted with every single track that the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Truck Series goes to every single week. Again, if you guys want to join the Discord, get in on the action, go to nitroracing.gg or discord.gg / Nitro Racing and get yourself out there and get motivated.
6 laps to go. And if this doesn't get you motivated, mates and mateys, I don't know what will. Chicagoland, we're about to bring the action. The fireworks are about to happen, Dylan, as they come back to the restart zone, buddy.
Really good restart down there on that inside lane for Brad Newman. Still going to be side by side for David Douglas and Jason Holdsworth. Jason's got the early advantage going into turn 1 and 2. Brad Newman's got all the clean air that he wants to have in the world, but this is where it's going to make or break your race here. Which line does Jason Holdsworth use? But where does Kute Dow go? Kute trying to make himself up here towards the front.
Oh, by the way, don't count out Dave Douglas. Look who's up in the dance. The double D down in the bottom, number 10 on the inside, trying to make a run on. Now, Jason Holdsworth, Brad Newman gone. He's up in front. SpongeBob looks at 5 to go as he works down the back straightaway.
A little bit of a tail wag there for the number 8 machine of Jason Holdsworth, but everybody behind him going to do everything they can to try to gain more positions. Jason Holdsworth down to the inside in front of Dave Douglas.
Brad Newman in the lead. He's in front. Jason Holdsworth in second. Dave Douglas third. They're 1, 2, and 3. Couple of Toyotas, a Ford. Now back to third. As Newman... There it is. There's the interval. Yes, sir.
As Jason Holdsworth trying to find any way he can to get a good run off of the number 1 is Aaron Borg. Not sure what happened to Aaron Borg, but he's now in front of the race leaders. He's going to be a lap down car. But now if you're the leader, where do you want that lap traffic to go?
And if you're a guy like Jason Holdsworth, you want to try to use that lap truck as a pick. He can't get there in time. Down to the inside. Holdsworth stuck on the bottom as Borg's up top. 3. Here they come to the line. 2 to go. 3 miles remain. Newman in the lead. Holdsworth under attack mode on the high side and reel him in.
Jason Holdsworth lost a little bit of time, couldn't get all the way up to that outside wall with Aaron Borg being a lap traffic. Coming off turn 4 is going to be Brad Newman coming around to take the white flag. If everything was good, this race will end. 1 more lap to go. White flag waving for Brad Newman and the number 1 SpongeBob machine. Jason Holdsworth just 3 more corners to go to make it happen. Kute now trying to get a good run on the number 8 machine. 8 is going to defend down the inside, but it's Brad Newman with a big launch all the way through turn number 3 and 4. 1 more corner to go. Brad Newman, the number 1, going 1 tonight, going to capitalize catches win on the season. To lock himself in the championship 4. What a race for Brad Newman and Jason Holdsworth.
Yes, Brad Newman led close to 40 laps, 39 in total. And Brad Newman and SpongeBob are going to the championship 4 at Phoenix, no doubt. Whatever goes on the next couple of weeks at Talladega next week or Rockingham, Brad Newman is the first driver, the P1 contender in the standings. Now P1 on the racetrack here in Chicagoland. He punches his ticket in to the championship round of 4 when we race in 3 weeks at Phoenix. Unbelievable, Brad Newman.
The move of the race there had to be the overcut for Brad Newman, going 1 extra lap over Jason Holdsworth. He got the race lead and never looked back as he's going to burn it down for Patrick, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, Sandy Cheeks, everybody. He's going to burn it on down and take it back into victory lane as he's going to park it right on the front stretch, right at the wall. Get a little ninja curl on that front stretch wall as well. Brad Newman, well-deserved win as we get ready to bring up the final race results. Is going to be Brad Newman with the race win. Jason Holdsworth in second. Kute Dow is going to be third. 4 is going to be Dave Douglas. 5th is going to be Dave. 6th will be Riley. 7th, A. Barber. 8th, Matt Raymond. 9th is going to be Brenton Henderson. 10th is going to be Brian Barber. 11th, Tom Freer. 12th, David Lawler, 13th, is going to fill out 14th. Tim Blundell, 15th. Naughty Tompkins, 16th. Trent Lavelle, 17th. Angus Lawford, and running out your top 18 is going to be Aaron Dorman.
Yeah, Dorman will finish at the number 18 position. Then it's going to be Aaron Borg, a lap down, by the way, for all of these drivers in the back, a lap down or more, including Chooch Brandon Griffiths, Marty Mitchell, 21st, Brian Blundell, Tom Pritchard, Brad Wright, Lee Davis, and again, Charles Wembley did not start this race. An hour, 16 minutes, and 10 seconds to go. 128 laps and Krabby Patties for everybody, Brad Newman says. He's burning it down. Big win, Dylan, for the driver of the number one, Brad Newman. He is going again to Phoenix to fight for a championship in the Australian NASCAR E-Series trucks. Whatever goes on at Talladega or Rockingham, two very distinct configurated racetracks. The racing will be intense and wild. He knows that he can do a little R&D testing, or hell, he could bounce out for the next couple of weeks and be able to make the finale. Regardless, Brad Newman is the winner here tonight at Chicagoland in the Windy City.
Absolutely. As we get ready to bring in our top three, go to a quick commercial break here. Let us get our voices back, get the top three into the broadcast booth, and we'll be talking to them here shortly, right after these few messages.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back here to the A&E Truck Series Season 2. I'm going to start off the post-race interviews with our race winner. That's going to be Brad Newman of the number one machine. Brad, one hell of a job here tonight. You sat behind Jason Holdsworth for the longest time, and then the green flag pit stops came around. What was going through your mind? How many laps, actually, were you going to stay out over Jason coming to your green flag pit stop? And what more could you have done to open up the gap just a little bit more than what you had on the number 8 machine?
Thanks, mate. Wasn't really any strategy to it. I came to the pit lane when I ran out of petrol. And then got lucky with Jace having a slow stop. So it was handy because track position is pretty important. I was struggling to get around him in that first stint.
Well, Brad, congratulations are in order, man. Not only do I get to see what you do on the Tuesday BMG X Series, it seems like the same talents show here in the truck, but it wasn't easy. Jason Holdsworth was obviously at one time had a stranglehold on the lead. That battle, that late race caution, having that flawless pit stop to get out in front, how important was that to seal the win?
Yeah, pretty important. As I said before, it seems like track position here is pretty important. It's hard to have the speed to go around someone when you need to. So I just had to hope that the car was quick on a short run. And it seemed to do the job.
Yeah, absolutely. You were able to get the truck the way that you wanted it to go, but instead of Krabby Patties for everybody, we're making the pretty patties for everybody out there in the broadcast chat and out there on the racetrack. But Brad, before we let you get on out of here, if there's anybody on that number one machine you'd like to give a shout out to, friends, family, or anything like that, the floor is now yours, good sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I usually run the Chevy and accidentally brought the Toyota tonight, which had a different paint scheme on it. But thanks to you guys, as always, for putting these events on, and the guys at Lobs Esports, and also Dean Thrower for the help he does with me in these races in my year. Thanks, guys.
Going to go ahead and move on up to our second place finisher. That's going to be Jason Holdsworth in the number 8 Nitro Racing. Jason, you led the majority of the laps. You had the truck to beat there towards the beginning parts of the race, but your slow pit stop on that green flag run kind of hindered your performance there towards the front. You kept it up in P number 2 just a little bit more, and you could have had that race win. What more did you need to get around that number 1?
Probably wasn't going to get around him. I probably needed to be a little bit looser, but I lost that in the pits tonight. Obviously, a slow stop isn't helpful. That's where, yeah, as Brad said, track position is everything. And I lost it tonight, so it is what it is. Move on to next week at Dega.
Jason, I will say this much, though, dude. You come into the round of 8 opener in the number 7 spot, but I got a feeling with, having a really good day, leading the most laps of anybody, and obviously being up in front, finishing second. I know it's not a win, but it's got to be a good points day, at least, to be optimistic to climb into the top 4.
Yeah, well, I'm above the cut line. I'm sure you'll see that very, very soon. I'm sure Dean will show it. But there's Dega, right? Dega is such a lottery. Like, I don't know exactly what's going to happen next week. I don't know if I finished the super speedways this year, many of them. So it is what it is. Well, I'm not sure what I could do. It's the lottery of a super speedway, which is generally not my forte.
Well, needless to say, whether you finished them or not, you can officially say that you're above the cut line and going into the next race. Obviously, after that, you got Rockingham, and then you can decide your fate going on to the Championship 4. But Jason, it's a pleasure having you, good sir, up here in the broadcast booth. Can't wait to see more and more action from you next week and the week before and the week after. But if there's anybody on that number 8 machine you'd like to give a shout out to, the floor is yours.
Yeah, JT obviously did a lot of work last week for the season pass holders. Put a lot of effort in for all of us to be fast because we know it's a playoff basically for everyone. So a big thank to him and the team. Obviously, they did a fair bit of work. And obviously, you guys in the booth and Nige.
All right, well, buddy, we hope that you have a good rest of your night and can't wait to see what you bring to the table next week. As going to go on to our third place finisher, one driver that has never been up in the broadcast booth, West. That's going to be Kute Dowell in the number 55. Kute, buddy, this speed, it's raw, it's uncut. You made yourself well known this race. You got yourself from the back to the front, 19 positions gained. How did you do it? And what more did you need? I mean, obviously you had the caution on with 10 laps to go, but it looked like that number 55 was absolutely on a rail this whole entire race.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. Car did feel really well today, or really good. Well, just went the officials last week, and the track was a bit different, but seemed to suit it even better because car felt really good. Maybe I didn't have the long run because Dave was definitely catching me. He would have had me if there was no late caution, but that late caution came, did some adjustments, and had the short run pace.
I'll tell you what, that late race caution, when it came out, Kute, did that kind of like open up your eyes and say, man, I got a shot to win this race? Because let's be honest here, you look good the entire event, but you just seemed like every time you climbed maybe into the top 5, either the tires went away, handling, or just more competitiveness was around you. That late race caution, did that open the door to let you get this podium finish here, you feel?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Dave was definitely had more long run pace. He was catching me, and he was quite quickly. I think with like 20 to go, he was catching rapidly, 10s per lap. So when the late caution came, I felt I had the short run pace, and maybe I could have beat him, but I don't know. It's Jason and Brad you're talking about, so it's always going to be hard. But yeah, it was good fun and good finish.
Absolutely, Kute. Well, If there's anybody on that number 55 machine to let give a shout out to, the floor is yours, good sir, and congratulations on your first podium finish.
Thanks, Dylan. Yeah, just you guys in the booth, and Dean for all his production work, Nigel and Jason for all the behind the scenes, the P1 Racing guys, and Mum and Dad for watching at home. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's going to do it for our post-race interviews here tonight. Wes, man, oh man, what a thriller of a race. We had a couple of different lead changes. We had a couple of wrecks here and there, but nonetheless, still great racing all the way in and through this race. Again, Brad Newman locking himself into next round, the round of 4, the championship coming in 2 weeks' time, or
Well, there
3
it is.
weeks' time, excuse me.
Yeah, and there they are. Of course, we asked the question to Jason Holdsworth, and he said, I got a feeling that I'm climbing up there. And you see that he went up 8 spots to the good. So there you see guys like Davis, Borg, Curtis, and Lawford moving into Talladega. You're in a hole now. As right now, Brad Newman advances. Guys like Tom Freer, Jason Holdsworth, Ryan Barber, they're at least comfortably, at least knowing that you're going into Talladega in the number 4 spots. But we know Talladega is a wild card. We know the shenanigans, the craziness that will happen. We'll see it in real NASCAR beginning tomorrow with the NASCAR Craftsman Trucks Xfinity Saturday, the Cups playoff on Sunday, and then, of course, next Sunday night, next Tuesday night, next Thursday night, Australian NASCAR E-Series all across the board. Talladega, the biggest track in the world. That's where we're racing at, and it should be a fun one. Hey, send prayers out to Nigel Sedell. Don't want to go into all the details of everything, but I know that he's got a family issue going on right now, so please keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and hopefully we'll have him back with us very soon. Dylan, haven't worked with you in a while, man, but thank you so much. Enjoyed working with you, and obviously we will get ready for Talladega next week, man. It should be a good one.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see what happens next week. But that's going to do it for myself up here with Wesley filling in for Nigel. Dean Biggles behind the cameras and giving you the great replays week in and week out in the beautiful camera angles. But that's going to do it for myself up here in the broadcast booth. Make sure you guys take care. Brush your hair.